Welcome back, guys, to another episode of A Powerful New Era. I'm Amaya Cartagena.
And I'm Ishmael Ortiz.
And today we're here joined with...
Larry Taylor, founder of VV, Vertical Vision.
You already know what's going on, guys. This is
A Powerful New Era. Roll the clip. My fault. I got my guy Larry Taylor
VV.
on here.
Yo.
VV.
So, dang, man. I know you've been telling me that how far Vertical Vision has been, like how it's gone and stuff like that. I'm just happy that you're here, and I'm glad that that you made this work, because I know you're always so busy, and with Vertical Vision, you do a lot, like with St. Charles and stuff like that. That you'll talk about that soon, but.
I would do this for you in a second any day, bro. So out of respect and how much like love I got for like what you're doing and how you guys are kind of like opening it up for other people to like kind of hear, their story and things like that, I would do this in a like instance, bro. So without a doubt.
Nice, yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
That was nice.
You did this last video. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So the main thing, what I honestly don't know a lot about, because, and I've grown up with this guy my whole life, basically a role model, just like my other guy, Gio. Basically, hand in hand, both of these guys taught me how to like play ball the right way, show me the ropes, and really just guided me throughout life. And the main thing that I always question is like, what is Vertical Vision? Like, how did you even just come up with it, man? Because I know you've been at it for a while.
Yeah, since 2016. I was still in my senior year of college basketball. And I was like towards the end of the year about to get ready to graduate my bachelor's degree, and I knew that like at some point the ball was going to stop bouncing, in a sense of like playing in a way where it was like about you type of thing.
Right.
And as I and luckily I had a coach at the time who's now coaching at Gonzaga, who Coach Barsh, and I had him at Southeastern. He was a really great example for me to see and know like what it is I was going to do with the game after playing, and see what God was going to do with it. And so, to be honest with you, I was in the passenger seat of my teammate's car, in the front seat, when I was just like thinking about something, and the like two words Vertical Vision popped into my head.
Tough.
And that's not me, that's definitely God. You know what I mean? In a sense of just like, because I knew I had already been praying about what he wants to do, and I knew that I already had a passion, just from you seeing what I was doing with the Boys and Girls Club since 2014. And I knew that, like, there was also a need for wholesome, genuine outreach with no strings attached. And so I remember when I started to do more with it, I started to see the more of a need for it.
Right.
So I remember like just being in my teammate's car, Vertical Vision popped in my head. That same teammate his name is Matthew Crow. He was the one that started doing the first camps with me, the first clinics. So the one thing that I really wanted to do when I first started was to get my teammates involved with that was currently playing with me already at the college level, just because there was so much knowledge and people that like, you never know like when you kind of reach out who's going to know what. Yeah. And so knowing that I could bring like college dudes back to the area, and that's why when we started doing basketball camps at CCS in Port Charlotte for the first time, getting kids to come there and get like, coached up by like current college basketball players. And at that time, I didn't really see that happening too much in the area, at all. Yeah. And I didn't really notice like, and there was college players, and there was people that were from this area doing cool things with basketball, but I didn't see, too much of a push for people to come back and to like make it a yearly thing. And then now to see kind of like the fruition of it and to see what God continues to do with it. I mean, it's kind of just been a very, very humbling and also very grateful thing, because I mean, I could go on for hours on like different things that we've been able to do through Vertical Vision.
Yeah.
But it really just came down to being like willing and open to whatever God had for it. And then as we continue to like do it, it's just God continues to want to do his thing with it. So I think that it really also just stems from my love for young people too. And what I mean by that is I was raised in the church, and my dad was a youth pastor, and my dad was a pastor at the same time as well. And so I was around like, youth ministry all the time growing up. And so that's like kind of been like a passion of mine ever since I was a kid, was knowing the importance of having wholesome, genuine situations for young people to be a part of.
Right.
So it's kind of like, and we'll talk about this more, but like even with the Englewood situation, like that gym being like a place for people to go there and be able to work on their passion without worrying about like them being a part of a school or a team.
Right.
Like that's the main thing and kind of the reality that I'm hoping that we can continue to create, because it's such a wholesome thing to know, like when you're a young person, to be able to know like I'm going here to work on my passion and to like work hard at what I love and not have to worry about like being like strings attached to it. Like the people that show up this summer to go work, you know, with us on their craft and in the gym in Englewood, they know that like they're going there because they love the game and they know the people that are about to teach them care about them and love the game as well.
Right.
So it's really just about, I just think that young people need more and more wholesome leadership and genuine people in their circles today. With all of the distraction that they get thrown at them with their phones and different things. It's like when you can actually have good leadership in people's lives, like you don't want to miss out on that. So VV is definitely take different shapes and forms, like, you know, not just with basketball clinics, but also with clothes drives. I remember you probably remember we used to do those in Boys and Girls Club.
I used to be the one setting them up.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, Larry's coming this time.
Yeah, so that's why. Oh, that's right. I remember that. That was when you were working there. Yeah. So it's just like also just being open and willing to whatever God has, and I think that like there's just so much more that God has in store for it. So I'm excited to see what He does. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it was super cool just like doing all the deep diving into vertical vision that I was doing, because I want to make sure I was up to date and knew exactly, you know, what to talk to you about. Not only, like you said, not only are you doing basketball and like also leadership for the youth, but you're also teaching a lot of morals and characters, and so kind of dive into that a little bit more. I know you kind of explained already how there is a need of that, but what are some examples that you do with the kids, like at the camps and whatnot, that do help build the character as well as not only their basketball skills? Well,
I know that my faith is a big deal. I know that like my faith in Jesus Christ is the main reason I can do what I do. I know that without my relationship with Jesus, I wouldn't have the tools that I have to speak to young people, to give them the knowledge that isn't from me but from the Word of God. Right. So that in the sense of the clinics that we do, we always try to start off our clinics obviously with a word of motivation to help young people get ready, because we do live in an age where you have to get young people's minds like prepared to do what they're about to do, because like we were saying earlier, they have so much distraction in their life now that when they're about to get ready to do something, their mind might be in 4 different places. But if you can get them set in where they're at, my coach used to say, Coach Barsh used to say, right here, right now. Right here, right now. Tough. And I just think that it's a good like reminder, right, that like anywhere you're at, you got to be right here, right now. So we try to start off with that type of like message and approach, and then at the end, we always try to stick to, you know, an attribute or something to help them understand. So for example, in Englewood, this first week, our theme is going to be humility, and just like going over like what that is, and how just also the idea of you can be really, really, really good at something and still be humble.
Right. Yeah, right.
Like you can be like amazing at the craft that like God has given you, and still bring people alongside with you.
I agree.
And still teach that to other people. And I think that one of the things with vertical vision is the other side of it that we try to help kids with is like, due to all the distraction, there is a God in heaven who you can keep your eyes on, vertical vision, right? Well, you can keep your eyes on regardless of what's going on here all the time. Like, because I know for a fact, like, I mean, my life has been blessed, but if I wouldn't have had vertical vision, like a vertical vision mindset through certain things in my life, I would have gotten thrown way off track. Way off track. You know what I mean? So no, but for real, because like the one thing that young people need to learn how to know how to do is to know how to keep their eyes on the important stuff even when it gets really, really hard. Because the main thing, like a lot of people with a lot of talent and with a lot of skill and even sometimes a lot of knowledge can get just kind of thrown by the wayside just due to like a life hiccup or a life speed bump. And I think that like with vertical vision, and you know, not everybody is, you know, a born again Christian, not everybody believes in Jesus. So vertical vision can also be your family. Vertical vision can be like the people that are like closest to you. Vertical vision can be that goal that you're trying to achieve in 4 months, a year, 4 years from now. Whatever it is, it's like we always going to have a roller coaster going over here or you know, carousel going over here. But if I can just keep my eyes glued on what it is I know God has for me, that's like a game changer for young people and also for generations. Because for families and generations, when you can teach a family to stick through the hard stuff, and then that becomes like a reciprocal effect into the lineage, into like generations later, you're talking about families that stick together,
Right.
you know, that don't break up, because young people need two parents. Like, it's a big deal. And I think that like kind of going over those concepts consistently, even talking to young people about that and helping them understand, like, yeah, like having two parents is a big deal, right? But not everybody has that at the same time.
Right.
So then how can we give them a tool set to help them fight through something that they might be going through, right? And so like I just think that like with the vertical vision mindset that can be applied, even if you're not, you know, particularly faith-based. I think that like, you know, you just got to know how to keep your eyes glued on the important things. Because if like at the end of the day, we got this life to live.
Right.
You know, like you can have a bad week. You can have a bad month.
A horrible week.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, but how do we just get back to where God needs us to be in order for the mission to get done? So I think that like there's a lot, I mean, more to be said on that in a lot of different ways. What we're currently seeing, like when I teach young people, and I teach from pre-K all the way to 8th grade at the school I teach at. And so I see like the challenges for every age level right now.
Right.
And I would say that for like middle school kids, it's very hard for them to keep their eyes dialed in on like what they love or a passion that they love. It's actually easier right now, I'm seeing, for like 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders to be passionate compared to like 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Yeah. Correct.
Because because 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders also aren't getting introduced to a lot of the things that we didn't even like deal with, like when we were like, you know, growing up with the phones and things like that. And now that 6th and 7th and 8th graders are much more, you know, able to get a hold of certain things. And for example, I loved basketball growing up. Like that was it, bro. Like I needed to play Division I basketball. And I wasn't going to stop until like I got that. Yeah. But if I had like all of these distractions, if I had the ability to just go like watch like NBA highlights every night on my phone just because somebody made it into a highlight where I didn't have to watch the whole game, but I could just watch every make. Right. Like that would have been a distractionary thing for me, right? But now young people probably don't even think in that way, in the sense of this is taking up my time.
Yeah.
Like that time I could have been working on my craft, I'm watching somebody else do it. When it's just like it's just a different reality in a sense of like what like we're dealing with and what like I'm blessed, and I love the fact that I got to grow up and have a childhood without all of that stuff. And not to say that you can't use it for good, but you know how many like 6th, 7th, 8th graders know how to use that stuff for really good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's true. Going back to what VV and like how we kind of implement like biblical values is just any chance we get to go over the Word of God and just go over the things that we know are going to help your life. Whether or not you make a proclamation of faith in Jesus Christ, but it's more so just helping you like lead you and plant those seeds, and then just also help show you what it means to have good people in your circle. Like, cause like if I wouldn't have had really solid like coaches and leaders in my life from the age of like from since 2012 in high school all the way till now, I wouldn't be who I am. You know what I mean? And I know that with my own personal discipline, I mean, like it wouldn't have been good enough, you know? And I needed like people to go out of their way to teach me those things. And I think that like with Vertical Vision, hopefully also with like having like Ethan Bray come back as an intern, I'm hoping that we bring people back into the fold to show like young people that like people want to help you.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So I think that that's really what we try to dial in with VV. And I think that like, you know, also the biblical values, I don't know how often that gets touched on in different walks of life nowadays. And so I think that that's a big piece that sometimes can get like brushed under the rug. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and we will always continue to give life principles in that way, because it's everything. It's everything. So
yeah, absolutely. Geez, there's so many gems that you just
There's
dropped. I
appreciate that.
So many gems that you just dropped in there. We're getting so many clips out of this. It's crazy.
So with I love the foundation that you have at Vertical Vision. I love how you have your dad, Kurt. He's amazing. He's always talking to me, like showing me the right way. And like I just talked to him when I came last time, and he was just telling me how much New Era's came, like, cause I guess you showed him a couple clips.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So then he was telling me, and I'm just like, bro, what you guys are doing is even better, because you guys are actually bringing the community together. And like, there's no gyms out there where people can go out there and train and work on their passion, like you said.
Yeah, my dad,
So-
bro, is like, I got so much love for my dad.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna try not to tear up, but like my dad is the reason I became the basketball player that I am today. That gym, I grew up in that gym.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
remember
went to that school growing up because I used to have a school called Heritage Christian Academy.
Mm.
In that video that you took, I have a HTA warm up on from back in the day. That's like a '90s warm up, bro.
Yeah.
So
It's
like
the warm up ish.
yeah, it's the warm up ish. Yeah. So it's just my dad. I mean, like I think sometimes I'd be thinking my life is a simulation because of the parents,
time.
because of the parents I was given,
Mm-hmm.
because of the parents I was given, and as I've continued to live and see, like, not everybody gets that like draw of the luck, bro. Like, not everybody, you just don't get to pick who your parents are. And I had two supportive parents, and my dad. It doesn't surprise me that like he just said those things to you just because of how much he appreciated what you were doing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, my dad is like everything that who I am and who I continue to want to be is definitely like a whole ton to do with my dad. So, he's a big time dude, and I'm glad that like I've been able to like, or that we've been able to create something where he's also like the director of all that there at that
Facts,
gym.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because like if there's anybody with a servant's heart, it's that man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that man is like, and he's shown me what it means to like serve others with no need of like payback. Just because it's like what God has called us to do. And so since God has called us to do that, we need to do that out of obedience to our Maker. So I think that like my dad is just a special person, and I'm glad that you guys have been able to kind of like interact with each other, because he's just like, there's just so many people.
It was
also that say
honestly
the
one of
same
the
thing.
best videos I've done in a while, just because of the fact like how much it meant in general, like with New Era and Vertical Vision, and just
Yeah.
like just seeing him and like talk about it and stuff. It's just like, you know.
Because my dad's got a story.
Yeah, he does. He
If
could
you-
have kept talking.
if-
He was
if
like,
you
he's like,
ever-
are you
if
good?
you- if-
I was like, yeah. You good.
I know that you could cut this part, but like, if you ever want to have him come on here
Yeah,
and
for
talk
sure.
about his life,
Vertical Vision
bro,
Part 2.
you don't even know. That man's been through like his childhood, his upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
The reason he's the dad he is to me is because he didn't have that growing up.
Right.
Right.
So he told himself that that he wasn't gonna be, or he wasn't gonna allow his kids to experience what he experienced. And so talking about generational changes here, you know what I mean? It took one person to make a decision to make sure that like he didn't, like I don't go through what he went through.
Right.
And now I know that when I become a father, I'm not gonna ever let that happen to my child. And so there's just so much to be said on like making one like choice, like, you know, or just being consistent about who you want to be about. And that's definitely my dad, man. So
Can I ask how did you come, like, how did you bring Vertical Vision to your dad? Like, how did you talk about it to him? Because it's kind of hard to even, like, talk about it to my mom sometimes, like, about New Era.
oh yeah.
Or about Powerful Mind sometimes, you know, it's just, like, certain things, people's passions, people don't see it. So
Right,
it's just like,
right. No, well, due to my dad already being like a basketball head, and at the
Yeah,
time
yeah.
when like, you know, my senior year of college, he was the coach at CCS. So he was already ingrained, or, you know, with local hoops and things like that. So once I kind of like showed him like, hey, let's like, you know, let's run a camp at the end of the school year at CCS this upcoming year, 2016. And, you know, we just did it, we tried it. And then after like we did one camp, had some college players come out, and then saw like the fruits of it and how like well people kind of responded to it. It just kind of like snowball effect.
So he just, like, ASAP
Yeah.
just-
Oh man, my dad
nice.
would walk to China with me. And he has.
Yeah.
He's gone to China with me. You know what I
Sick.
mean? So like, he just, I knew from like the get go he was going to be like supportive of it and down
For
with
sure,
it for
for sure.
sure. So yeah, it's an amazing thing. Also to have someone in your family understand why you're doing what you're doing.
For sure.
So I feel you on that.
Yeah,
on,
that's
like,
why I wanted to ask, just
Yeah.
to see, you know.
Because,
the
you know,
level.
my
'Cause
heart
there's
is
levels,
from his
there's
heart.
levels, yeah.
Yeah.
My heart is from his heart.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, so like I knew like when I have ideas and things like that, it connects with him just because we have the same type of heart with things. So it's a beautiful thing.
It really is.
Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned China, because that was a big question I had. How did that happen? Please talk about that. That seems super, just like heartwarming and
Oh,
epic
man.
and all of the things. So I want you to definitely dive into that.
Yeah, China, the fact that we were able to, we went twice. We were able to run clinics in Guangzhou, China, the summer of 2018 and the summer of 2019. And we would probably be still going every summer now if it hadn't been for COVID.
Right.
Sheesh.
So we were at a place where we were about to actually start doing things in the Philippines as well. So, because like we had, the reason I have a connect through, we have an underground missionary. So, you know, in China, you can't just have church. Like you get, like you'll get arrested and put in prison for like just having church and, you know, having a Bible.
Right.
So we connected with an underground missionary that I've known actually my whole life. And he actually even has a school out there as well for, you know, for Christian families as well. And so it was just really, again, God. I mean, opening the door, me just having like an epiphany of like thinking, hey, this could work if I talk to this person. And then I talked to that person, made it happen, and then, you know, kind of just got it rolling. The first time I went, I had brought my sister and my sister actually ended up getting a teaching job there for the next school year, just because of just being there and like knowing the person of the school and stuff. But you know, but being able to do that in Guangzhou, our first camp, we ran 2 different clinics, one for 3 days and then like a little break and then another 3-day one. And I would tell you, like, the blessings that came from that was due to the people of China. I have a really, really special place in my heart for China, because I would go back in an instant just because of like how grateful and how like gracious they are to you for coming from somewhere else to teach them something that they might not know. I mean, the amount of like letters that like I got after the clinics, like handwritten letters in English that, you know, like that was hard for them to write out because they're so used to doing a different type of language. Was just, they were so grateful that a person came from a different land to come just run clinics for them. And at that time, I was able to bring up my other college teammate with me who was able to show them cool dunks and things like that. But the main thing that I got from also doing that was just like how incredible it is to be able to be skilled at something and be able to go to the other side of the world and be alive during a time where you can really just get on a plane and do that. Because, you know, like I think about, I love history, so like I think about like the situation of what you're in, like the reality of the fact that like there's people that wish they could have went across the world like back in the day that never got to do that. And so the fact that like I live in a time now where I can give like knowledge and show like skill and teach that and have the ability to just hop on a plane and get over to that country and then everything work out, you know, I mean, like I pray to God that we're able to get back, but it was an amazing experience. The one thing that Chinese youth are very good at is listening compared to American youth. American youth need to wake up a little bit in the sense of just being able to just dial in right away, because the young people there are already disciplined to do it without even thinking. I mean, I was running clinics with a translator because I don't speak Chinese. I know very like, you know, 谢谢 means thank you. Ni hao means hello, you know what I mean? But that's it. And so I had a translator that was like translating everything I was saying after I would say it, like 2 sentences, say his thing, and they were still locked in. You know what I mean? If I know for a fact that if I had to run a clinic here and I didn't speak the language and they had to wait for a translator, by the time the translator got done, there might be a kid walking to the corner and another kid tying his shoe and another kid like,
the ball.
Facts. So that was a refreshing thing, just to see a different culture with youth in a sense of how they're just a little bit, you know, tweaked just a little bit different. They're wired just a little bit different. And so, no, that was a great opportunity. I wish, you know, obviously madness happened in 2020 and that threw some things off. But hopefully we can get back there and just be able to continue to like grow what we were growing, because like at the time, like I was still using WeChat to have conversations with people in China just because of not being able to like interact with them. And so we still have relationships with people over there even now. So I hope that we can get back there, but it was a very powerful thing, and I just pinch myself sometimes to think that like we really brought VV to Guangzhou, China, like, which is crazy.
That's insane.
When you first posted it, it was huge.
It was insane. It was, and I also look back and I'm glad to like have gotten things rolling and just got it popping. Like kind of like God was good with just kind of like opening up the doors quickly with a lot of different things. So
yeah, that's insane. And then was Texas after that or before that?
Before we started, we've done Texas clinics 7 times now.
Oh wow.
So we ever since 2017, I have a friend of mine who was an assistant coach when I was playing at Southeastern. He now he's also an athletic director now at a school and runs his own travel basketball program in Texas called Southeast Texas Hoops. And so he had me coming out there since 2017 to run VV clinics. And so we were doing that from all the way from 17 up until now. And so we've been doing that for quite some time. And that was in Beaumont, Texas, also in another city called, you might have never heard of it, but it's Nederland. But yeah, bro, yeah, just kind of keeping, yeah, Texas is so wide. There's like so many different cities, but yeah, just doing that for the last 7 years, that's been great. Forming more relationships with, like, the other thing that I never really expected was like hoopers that we got to know through different clinics that still reach out every now and then just to like tap in and like ask how I'm doing. Tough. Like not really like asking for anything, but just ask how I'm doing, which is like, nice. I don't know, I never expected.
Shows the character and how you train.
Yeah. I think it's definitely a tell-all for like just also how like VV might treat people too.
Facts.
And how we come about people. So yeah, Texas was great. Yeah, it was a really cool thing. We've also been in Israel. I don't know if I didn't get to go. My dad did it. So like we were, I was a GA at the time. I was still getting my master's degree, so I couldn't get away. But he went on a trip and was able to run VV clinics in Israel. And to have done that before everything kind of popped off the last 7 months, I mean, like it's been incredible to have gotten to see that be a thing and kind of see the VV name over in Israel. And they did that through like I think it was called the Nazareth Bible School or something like that. Nice. And so yeah, it's been cool to kind of get into different crevices of like culture as well. Like Israel and China are totally different, opposite things. And then compared to America, it's a whole different thing. So lots of different kids come about, and just it's been very, very cool to kind of get widespread with it.
That's super interesting. I don't know anybody else who's done anything like that, especially not from this area. That's a huge thing.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And then so another cool thing that I also noticed was your scholarships that you provide for different students. So talk about like how that started and how that's kind of evolved, because I kind of noticed there's different levels and whatnot.
Yeah, different things. Like for example, like the first ones that we gave out was 2016. We gave 2 like small scholarships out to 2 kids, and that was while I was still in my bachelor's. Like I was still an undergrad student when we gave those out, which I really thought that was cool in a sense of just like I got done playing college ball, and I was like, man, let's like try to give back to some kids that really need it. And so we were able to help them out with some, nothing like, not full ride or anything, but like things that help them with books.
Still making it happen.
Because when one book costs $200, you know what I mean? Like that adds up. So getting, creating a way to have like a $500 scholarship can make a big deal and a lot. And so the person that we actually, this is gonna sound crazy, this is a God again, but one of the people that we gave that scholarship to, his name is Juan. If you watch this, bro, it's crazy the things you're doing now. He travels with the Miami team, the Miami soccer team who Messi plays for.
That's tough.
He travels with them, does their content for them, like does all this different stuff. Like I'm talking like on his story, who I follow, he's pounding Messi as he walks through like the charter plane. And I'm like thinking to myself like, yo, like we tried our best to help that person before when what I mean, and now they're doing great things. It's just cool to see like that type of stuff. So that started like at Southeastern when I was still in my undergrad. Then when I got into my master's, we gave out another VV scholarly like through to a football player at the time at the same school. And then as I got done with my master's and came back into the fold, we gave like 2 out to 2 kids that were graduating from CCS just to help them get started as they were getting ready for college. And then also we gave 2 out. One name was Glendy, who back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember the kid that got hurt in the weightlifting room at Northport High School. He had like something like a barbell like messed him up or something like that. He had like his like season taken away from him. So we tried to help him out just like out of respect towards what happened to him. Yeah. And then also another student from CCS as well. And that was during the COVID time. When we did that, we had like the little presentation outside because ain't nobody wanted to be inside then. Yeah. But then we gave another one to, remember, Rodney? Yeah. Aniset, we gave one to him at the end of the year during that time. I think we've given out over like 11 or 12. And so just being able to do that, it's like comes down like different criteria, based on like, I know that for the people that were like, that got it in the beginning stages, they were already in college, so they were kind of like doing their thing, but they were also like fighting through stuff, and they were kind of showing like a vertical vision mindset through it. But like now, like with the scholarship that we gave to Bradley over at Northport High School last year, like he, you know, wasn't a spectacular like student, you know what I mean? Like 4.2 GPA, you know, taking care of business off the court, you know, so just trying to like recognize people and help out people that are like really getting it done, you know what I mean? So that's kind of like the approach to it. And I just kind of, I hope that like down the line, and I think that, you know, God can continue to do things like, you know, we get to a place where we, you know, help pay for someone's tuition. You know what I mean? Like those are things that I would love for us to get to a place of that, you know, someday. So, you know, that's definitely something. But just like I said, like just trying to be a blessing to people, because you never know, like that little blessing could just like spark that little spark they needed to just kind of keep pushing or ignite them to just keep pushing through. So you never know. So it's definitely a cool thing that like, and I'm very grateful that we've been able to like make that a thing and do it. So
absolutely. And then I know you already like have a ton. You kind of already mentioned, you know, like a ton of different ways that you've helped people or that you've seen it, you know, come full circle. But do you have any like specific stories that are like you hold extra special to your heart when it comes to just any interactions like that?
Just through VV?
Yeah.
Oh, man, there's been so many.
I know. I figured it was gonna be so many.
I was gonna say talk about like the relationship with like Brandon and Alex.
Man, yeah, I would say.
I feel like that's like your.
I would probably say, yeah. I that's so like back in 2014, I had got and this has to do with Jeffrey Gillot.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Gillot's the one that introduced me to the job of getting involved in the summer work of like Boys and Girls Clubs, and that was like when I got introduced to like, you know, Isaiah, introduced to like, well, I kind of knew Isaiah a little bit before that, but like even Brandon, all of those guys, you know, that I started to like form relationships with. I would say that definitely those relationships that we formed like in, you know, with our clique of people, like even with you, bro, very wholesome,
group.
You know, group of people that like have just been able to kind of continue to form relationships with. I would say though, like as far as like really, like as far as another moment, I would say is definitely like in China, because in China I at the beginning of every clinic, I forgot to kind of mention this. At the beginning of every clinic, the families would wait outside of the court because it was like a caged court with an overtop hanging. But they would hang outside of the gate to wait to thank me before the clinic even started. Like they were like every single family that brought their kid would wait there just to be like, thank you so much for doing this. And it was like a very like refreshing thing to experience, because you just don't see that here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
people are very like expect it. You know, we're in a very like, you know, spoiled culture in a sense. And so for that to see that still be a thing, and for them to make that like be very important to them, I always remember that in the back of my head. But at the end of the day, the relationships at the Boys and Girls Club and things that we've done through VV with that, and just like how that has kind of, now that we're all like pretty much grown men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel like that's like your biggest one outside of basketball.
Oh
and,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
It's dope.
So yeah,
it's dope.
I'll probably think
I
of the
also
story
grew
as
up
I'm,
with
like,
those guys
walking away.
too, and it's just like I still talk to them all the time.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's so many in the Boys and Girls Club, bro. In that gym, I think back to so many good moments we had. Like, remember when we used to play like 20 on 20?
Yeah, 20 on 20 with all the little kids everywhere.
And you knew like 18 of those kids weren't ever gonna get the ball, but they just wanted to run up and down the court and just see us like shoot the ball. You know what I mean? But like, I just think back to.
But that's why they loved it, you know, because they just wanted to
Sean
play.
Price come through. You know what I mean?
I was telling Gio on his interview, I was like, remember flex ball and stuff like that?
Oh
like,
yeah, I heard him talk about flexible. That was like some bodies were definitely had in that game, man. I mean, we're talking like, I mean, dudes used to love that. Dudes like Isaiah and Alexander and like, who was the dude that could jump out the gym?
David.
David. Yeah, David. David would be like out there like head up
Not
at the
gonna lie,
backboard.
David was probably the shortest, but hey,
you are gonna get banged on,
jump.
bro. Like, throw an alley up there, he's gonna catch it. Like he's like,
it's insane.
But yeah, those times. I mean, I think that was the prime time.
I think it was just cultural. When it comes to that, like it was just underrated. It was underrated.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think also that was like that time frame. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic, but that time frame, like 2000 summer 16, was like before young people started changing.
Yeah.
True.
I agree.
I think there was this like we were like
I think that was one of the best summers.
oh man, dude, like
I was still a kid. Yeah. It was,
kids were just still kids. I mean, they might have had phones, but there was still just a difference.
bro, I barely pulled out my phone.
It was the beginning of social media. The music scene was super crazy. Just started like the whole culture of all of it. Like 2016 was definitely, I feel like, a pivotal kind of change, like you said, in the youth and the way that people were.
Yep.
Because that's literally when social media just started.
Yep.
It wasn't anything
Really
what
did.
it was now.
And then Fortnite took over, and then all the teen side at the BGC just started playing Fortnite on the
Every
couch.
screen at,
And we just had to be like,
every
bro,
screen had
you
Fortnite
guys
on
want to play, like, go do something? You want to go move? Like, just move, walk or something?
it. It's insane.
But
It's
yeah,
insane.
dude, I love the Gene Matthews Boys and Girls Club 2016 prime time. There's no debate about it. It's the way it is. There was the best days of all BGC days. Was like
For me, when
15,
I was younger,
16, 17.
we had a good 10-year run, and then it went downhill just because everybody kept leaving and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then
And I'm sure there's some kids there now that'll be like, nah, it's our years. Like,
Yeah,
but I'm just letting you know, that's not the case, man.
That's not the case.
So yeah, primetime VGC, yo.
That's crazy. Do you have any last questions, final thoughts, anything?
I really don't, because you touched base on everything basically.
Yeah. Like you were talking, and I was just like, well,
Go
that
through
was
the list.
half of the
I know, I can go, bro. I can just like,
But, hey,
thanks, so
but that's perfect. That's perfect.
It was perfect.
I'm
yeah.
just happy that you're here, and just keep doing your thing, man. Because
no, I appreciate that.
you always remind me to keep doing my thing every time you text me, and you also like wanted to be part of Team New Era, and like want to play on my teams, win it all with me, you know. So it's so dope because VV is huge to me because I've seen it grow, and that's the reason why I started my thing. You know,
Bro, I know.
vertical vision. I told her Powerful Mind was also one of like the reasons why I started New Era. Just all these businesses in general, you know. So.
No, I do. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here, and I think I do want to like leave. Well, I just want to say one thing in the sense of just like kind of ending it out. I think that like our generation, our like group of people, like we currently right now with like the this is a little bit off topic, but with the amount of information that we're coming about and what we kind of get to do with that, and also this is a little bit I got to keep this in there if you don't want to, but when it comes to what's going to happen with the money of how we do things money-wise and what that's going to look like for us as we become like older, I think that people need to dial in when it comes to like separating themselves and putting whatever it is they need to into things that where the value is headed. And I think that like in order for the good, wholesome people to get the power and to get hold of what they need to do more good things in life and what's coming, we need to dial in and be strategic. And we need to like continue to like put the pieces together, because I'm just saying like it's 2024 and 2020 and 2030, like everything's gonna be different. It's just gonna happen. And I think that like we've seen that even since 2020 to 2024. So with what's gonna happen to 2024 to 2030, I just hope the people that are here for the right reasons are gonna continue to lock in and dial in, because like we need the good people and the wholesome people to be a part of like our society. And they need to like in order for I just think it's a big deal to kind of put that message out there, because the one thing that like I continue to kind of see with young people and what certain types of people get involved with young people and why they do what they do is like it's not for the longevity of things. It's for like whatever, whether it's profit, whether it's for ego, whether it's for whatever that might be, like let that go.
Let it go.
And let's just be here for people and like be genuine with like our purpose and what it is we're trying to do. So I think that that's a big message to put out there, and I hope that like, I know that, people are definitely, I know a lot of people that I know are going to watch this, and I hope that it just encourages people that are like in it for the right reasons to keep going. And that's why I totally respect Powerful Mind and totally respect Powerful New Era, because like who else is doing that? You know what I mean? Ain't nobody else doing that. And so I think that like the stories being told also is a big deal. I think that like, people can go on in life and never know why somebody was doing something. And now we get the opportunity to tell people like why we do what we do. And I think that there's a powerful,
that is exactly why.
There's just a very powerful like tool to that. And I think that, and I'm blessed, and I think thankful for the opportunity to be able to talk to y'all and do that.
Powerful New Era, man.
You dropped so many gems. You did so great. It
I
was the
appreciate
easiest interview ever.
Easiest, honestly.
It's like just keep.
It's probably gonna be the
keep
easiest
going.
one.
Yeah.
Literally.
Hey man.
Yeah.
We'll be back, Dre.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
But seriously, thank you so much again for coming on. Really appreciate it. It was like completely just so amazing to hear why you do what you do. Even I didn't know, and I was super curious. So I'm sure everybody out there is going to find it just as interesting. Super amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, because like you said, there's not a lot of people who are good people who are trying to do good things, especially in this area specifically. I feel like that's definitely something that we need more of.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
to be able to get all of us together to, like you said, just combine our efforts and provide you with that platform to tell them why you do what you do. Super grateful to be able to do it, honestly. And super grateful to have Ish on and New Era on and all the athletes on. Like, super grateful. I would have never thought that this was a thing. Like,
as soon as I told her about it, she was like, "What is that?" And I'm just
like 6
trust me.
months ago.
Right.
It's huge, yeah. And especially in our community, it's huge. You know, like the people I brought on so far, big names. You know.
Yeah, the last thing I do want to say is like the one thing that gets me through things as well, because like obviously I go through things as well. I mean, it's not been easy, but like the one thing that I was listening to something the other day that was really good was like the devil hopes, but God knows. You know what I mean? Like, so the reason I really like that is because, man, like when you know that God knows the plan already, you can live in that. Right. Like you can live your purpose in that, and you don't have to worry anymore.
You don't.
And that doesn't mean things aren't gonna be tough, but like when you know God knows what He has in store for you, like the devil's his attacks and things like that just don't faze you like that no more. And so, and a lot of that comes with discipline as well. But I'm just saying, like, with everything we're doing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, God knows what's coming. So I think that that's a powerful message to like leave with. So
let's go, man.
Nice. Tell the camera where to find you, your handles, all of that, what you got going on, what's coming up.
We got Instagram is verticalvision_. X, shout out to X. A lot of craziness on there. Is at VV Outreach. And then we got a Facebook page as well. It's just Vertical Vision. It's got this logo on it. Cool thing about this logo, just real shout out to Nico Valdivia. This is a student that I teach at St. Charles. He came up with this logo. Yeah. So we kind of just like, I told him, hey, we'll smack that onto the stuff now, bro. And so, but then we got a lot of things coming for the summer. We've got, we're going to be holding clinics in Englewood at our brand new gym that we're using at Calvary Baptist Church on Tuesdays and Thursdays through the whole summer. It only costs $20 to go for both workouts, not each one. So if you pay $20, you can go to both for the week. And then we got a free clinic over in Arcadia Friday, June 7th with, I know you're going to try to be at that. And then I just got word that we're going to be able to hold a free clinic over at Sarasota Christian School. I don't know the date on that yet, but we're trying to just keep it moving. We're also trying to still do things in Lehigh, over in Lehigh Acres, where it's very needed for like things like that, because Lehigh is kind of like a desolate, more out there city that might not have a lot of like, college hoopers that want to go do that. You know what I mean? So that's also something we're trying to continue to do in Lehigh Acres as well. So, like I said, just staying available to what God has and just being grateful for everything He continues to let us do. So.
Yes. All right, guys. As always, my name's Amaya Cartagino.
My name is Ishmael Ortiz.
And this was
A Powerful New Era.
We'll see you next time. Peace. Yay.
That was dope. That was fun.